Hello everyone! Today I will present my field project that discusses the impact of participation in activity-based developmental group on heritage language acquisition among toddlers. My name is Svetlana Sivalapova. This presentation is a part of the course TAL 714, Introduction to Qualitative Methods. The project investigates how structured developmental activities support the acquisition and development of heritage language in early childhood. My interest in multilingualism and my son's participation in this group inspired me to explore early developmental groups and their effect on heritage language. Despite growing research on trilingualism, most of the existing studies focus on naturalistic language exposure or formal educational settings, leaving a significant opportunity to explore more dynamic interactive learning environments. Therefore, there is a notable gap in our understanding how structured activity-based learning impacts language development in multilingual children. Theoretical framework. My approach is influenced by Vygotsky's social cultural theory, which emphasizes the importance of social interactions in cognitive development. I anticipated that the structured activities enhance those social interactions between children and adults, thereby fostering language development. Philosophical assumptions. This study, grounded in social constructivism, explores how participation in structured activity-based developmental groups influences toddler heritage language proficiency. It adopts a transactional epistemological stance, emphasizing that findings are co-created through interactions between the researcher and the subjects. From an ontological view, it recognizes that realities are locally and collaboratively constructed within these groups. Methodologically, the research employs a hermeneutical approach, deeply analyzing and interpreting the text and imagery delivered from data collection. The aim is to understand how structured activities facilitate heritage language learning among toddlers, exploring both individual and collective knowledge constructions to find consensus on the learning processes involved in the language acquisition. My field project examines the activity-based preschool developmental group located in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, specifically designed for early childhood development through interactive and engaging activities. The group consisted of 4 2-year-olds, 2 boys and 2 girls with diverse linguistics background. One of the children was bilingual, and another 3 were trilinguals with diverse linguistic backgrounds such as Russian, Spanish, Hebrew, and English. Conducted weekly and lasting 1 hour each session, the class is led by a trained facilitator who tailored various activities to foster language acquisition and developmental skills. Research design and data collection procedures. I initially started this research with a qualitative focus, planning to observe learning sessions and conduct interviews with parents. However, the question of how do I measure language development objectively initiated the search for the first data source, which introduced a quantitative element. This addition shifted my study to a mixed method approach. I collected qualitative data through a direct observation of toddlers' interaction within the activity groups and through the interviews with the parents. And for the third data source, I used the standardized Russian adaptation of MacArthur Bates Communicative Developmental Inventory adopted by Yeliseyeva. This tool was crucial for quantitatively assessing the toddler's verbal ability in their heritage language. Altogether, this should ensure the robustness of the findings via data triangulation, integrating insights from both qualitative and quantitative data sources. This approach helped to provide a comprehensive view of how structured activities impact heritage language proficiency. Observation. Observation was conducted during regular group sessions, focusing on the toddler's use of language during the structured activities and play. On May 22, 2024, at Sunny Isles Beach City Park, the group consisted of 4 toddlers accompanied by their caregivers and a facilitator. The session, held in the morning from 10 to 11 a.m., featured a series of 10 interactive and sensory activities aimed at engaging the children in the language-rich environment, conducted entirely in the Russian language. This observation aimed to collect data pertinent to research questions about language use and cognitive development in multilingual settings. Positionality statement. In this observation, I wasn't just an observer or researcher with the powers or privileges. I was a member of community. I'm an immigrant, first-generation immigrant, native Russian speaker, mother of one of the children participating in that session. And if anything, being a researcher from education is not a privilege in the Russian-speaking communities. If anything, the opposite, because education is not prestigious field of occupation. Therefore, people didn't pay attention to my presence. They just been busy with the regular things that they are busy with on these sessions, and all that combined allowed me to collect a very authentic data that I believe holds some important value for the project. The interview. The interview was conducted on May 29th at 5 p.m. in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, featured a mother from the toddler activity group who was chosen because she was the oldest participant and her child is bilingual in Russian and Hebrew with potential extension to trilingualism. The goal was to explore the benefits and challenges of participation in developmental group, especially in supporting the Russian language and overall development. This interview provided crucial first-hand information on parental perception, enriching the data collection process. Key points included interview structure was semi-structured to gather qualitative insights on the on her child's language development and activity effectiveness. Focus was to examine how a developmental group supports language and cognitive growth. Challenges included the need for more open-ended questions, better feedback linkage, and minimizing research bias to maintain study focus, as well as translation from one language to another. These insights and challenges from the interview will inform future improvement and research technique. Interview data analysis. I initially planned to use the phenomenological approach to gather reflections from the group participants. For data analysis, however, I inadvertently shifted my focus on linguistics and language aspects of the data, leading me to adopt a grounded approach theory. Despite this shift, I conducted thematic analysis of the interview data. I also critique myself for potentially not executing either approach in depth, a limitation that may be attributed to restricted amount of the data available for analysis. To analyze the data from my translation of the interview transcript, I initially used a word cloud generator, a free tool that creates a visual representation of the most frequent words into text. The generator highlighted the top 50 words, from which I excluded all functional words and words that were not related to the conversation. And then the most frequent word included words like group, home, child, children, Russian, and etc. Some of the entries I combined into one category because they were similar. For instance, child and children, development, develop were organized as one entry. And as a result, I have identified 26 codes that were organized into 6 themes. However, after reviewing the transcript, I found that there was some parts of the text that was mostly as contextual comments from my side or something that were happening in the background of the conversation that was not identified as a part of the interview. However, it had direct impact on my research question. So after revision, I decided to organize those extras into 3 additional themes because they were related to my research question, and it all was also a part of the interview and the data that I collected from this interview. So then, when I pulled those words from the free word cloud generator, I used Canva mind map template and just uploaded them vertically on the right-hand side by groups. So everything that was connected to language development was organized into one box, and then I organized all of them into little boxes and connected them to the bubble that represented the theme. So for instance, language words were connected to language development, so those themes like settings and context, engagement and motivation, social and cognitive development, family and personal activities and learning. So those were the themes that I identified from the words that I found from the code words. And then those themes were connected to the research question. However, when I tried to organize, I did that manually. I tried to do this theme organization through the several tools that I found online, but none of them worked properly. What I did, I started to look. I took each word and I used the search function from the Word document, and I was searching for the word home, for instance, and then I found all the sentences where this word home appeared, and I collected all the replies from the mother, excluding my questions where I used this word. So only her speech. Therefore, I ended up into phrases and sentences that she spoke using this word. And when you read those extracts from the text, it suddenly gives you interesting idea how she used this word and the meaning that she puts into that word. So I did this for all of my code words, which is just to make sure that I was correct when I grouped them into themes. And these are, as a result of the reviewing the transcript, I identified 3 more themes overlooked by the word cloud, which was personal development of the mother. There was also a discussion of multilingual household, the role of mother, father, and overall household dynamics, and implicit practices that when I asked her directly, do you do anything to scaffold language? Her answer was definitely no, but in the meantime, her child came up during the conversation, and she started to do the scaffolding techniques that typically speech pathologists do. Like, for instance, she slowed down, she changed her tone of the voice, and she repeated the word multiple times until the daughter repeats that word back to her, which I found very interesting because she didn't even know that she uses those techniques at home. but I observed them, and I decided to include that as part of the findings from the text. Conclusions. The analysis of interview data provided key insights into how structured play boosts heritage language and cognitive development among toddlers. Key findings highlighted the substantial improvements in the children's cognitive and linguistic ability from participation in this developmental group, as well as the dual benefit for both children and their parents. However, challenges included maintaining objectivity while researching as a participating parent, which, though it impacted neutrally, enriched the findings with the unique perspectives. The study also pointed to the need of the better interview techniques to effectively meet research objectives. Overall, it underscored the significance of activity-based groups in children's development and suggested improvements for the future research methodologies in this area. Thank you for watching this presentation, and here is my reference list.